Great.
Yeah.
Scott skipping the jump.
Calling to order the Monday, November 18th, 2024 meeting of the 40th Council of the City of Berkeley. Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker,
Here.
Councilmember Black, Mayor Pro Tem Gavin,
Here.
Councilmember Hennon,
Here.
Councilmember Patterson,
Here.
Councilmember Villani, Mayor Dean.
Here. Our first order of business is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Baker with support from Mayor Pro Tem Gavin. Are there any changes or corrections? Mr.
Mayor,
Guns?
I would just like to suggest, if council is amenable to it, if we could move item 3 on the consent agenda to the regular agenda, item 2A. We have a presentation that we can run council through that has some video examples of how this system will work. We thought it would be a good opportunity to share how we inspect sewers.
Great. Any objections or?
I agree.
Yep,
sounds
perfect.
good.
Okay, we're good then. Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll.
Black. Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the agenda has been approved. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we've now come to the portion of the meeting where you may present your thoughts on issues that are not included on tonight's agenda. Council members will not engage you in discussion, but it doesn't mean we don't care. If your matter needs to be followed up on, there's a table right outside this door where you can leave contact information, and a member of council, city staff, or director will get back with you. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and city of residence, and you have 3 minutes to tell us what's on your mind and in your heart. Okay, seeing no public comments, I will close them. Oh, wait, Ms. Mitchell, have you received any correspondence this evening?
I have. Joshua Hunter Berkley wrote in with concerns regarding a recent FOIA request.
Thank you. Ms. Mitchell, please read the items on tonight's consent agenda.
1, approval of the minutes. Matter of approving the minutes of the 40th regular city council meeting on Monday, October 21st, 2024, and city council special work session on Monday, October 21st, 2024. Warrant. Matter of approving warrant numbers 1403 and 1404. 3, motion number M 10124, matter of approving a budgeted upfitting of 4 Ford F-250 pickup trucks from Truck and Trailer Specialties of Howell, Michigan, utilizing the BidNet Rochester Hills Cooperative Contract, RFP-RH-20-023, in the amount of $55,895. The upfitting is budgeted under account numbers 592-536-985-000, Water and Sewer Vehicle, 101-441-985-000, General Fund Vehicles, 226-528-985-000, Sanitation Vehicles, and 208-751-982-000, Parks and Rec Equipment. 4, motion number M 10224, matter of approving a budgeted purchase of a new utility vehicle from Weingart Supply Company of Utica, Michigan, utilizing the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Contract 031121-KBA in the amount of $18,431.88. The purchase is budgeted under account number 208-751-982-000, Parks and Recreation Equipment. 5, motion number M 10324, matter of appointing City Council Member Dennis Hennon to serve as a delegate participant and City Manager Crystal Van Vleck as alternate for SEMCOG. 6, resolution number R2224, matter of adopting a resolution supporting Vision Zero, a public health-based traffic safety strategy to reduce and eventually eliminate traffic deaths and serious injuries. 7, motion number M10424, matter of approving the amended labor attorney agreement. 8, ordinance number O0924, matter of approving the first reading of an ordinance to amend section 26-326, vacant properties, to be registered of Article 6, vacant and neglected properties of Chapter 26, Buildings and Building Regulations of the City of Berkeley Code of Ordinances, to remove a time frame for registering vacant properties. And 9, proclamation number P2924, matter of receiving a proclamation recognizing election workers for their service.
Well done. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gavin
Support.
with support from Councilmember Baker. Are there any corrections or additions?
Yeah, just a small correction to our minutes from the last meeting that Mayor Pro Tem Gavin also volunteered for the ad hoc committee to review boards and commissions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll.
Gavin?
Yes.
Hennan?
Yes.
Patterson?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Black? Dean?
Yes, the consent agenda has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 1 on tonight's regular agenda.
Recognitions, presentations, matter of receiving any recognitions or presentations from the consent agenda.
Thank you. I've asked Mayor Pro Tem Gavin to read P2924.
Thank you, Your Honor. A proclamation of the Council of the City of Berkeley, Michigan, recognizing the dedicated service of election inspectors. Whereas election inspectors, including precinct workers, mini absentee counting board inspectors, supplemental office staff, and receiving board members play a critical role in maintaining the efficiency, accuracy, and success of the election. And whereas the City of Berkeley election inspectors dedicate their time, knowledge, and commitment to ensuring the integrity and smooth operation of the election. And whereas these individuals attend training classes and uphold the highest standards of accuracy, fairness, and respect while serving the voters, enhancing public confidence in our election processes. And whereas election inspectors in Berkeley work diligently to manage polling locations, assist voters, process absentee ballots, and verify closing paperwork to ensure that all eligible ballots are securely counted and that all required documentation is done accurately. And whereas their contributions are instrumental in fostering trust in our elections and promoting civic engagement within the Berkeley community. And whereas on November 5th, 2024, they took on the added responsibility of serving Berkeley residents to ensure democracy during a charged political climate while working more than a 15-hour day. Now therefore, the City of Berkeley hereby proclaims, Section 1, it is the intent of the Berkeley City Council to formally recognize and extend its heartfelt appreciation to each election inspector, mini absentee counting board inspector, supplemental office staff, and receiving board member for their essential role and unwavering commitment to protecting the integrity of our elections. Proclaimed this 18th day of November at a regular meeting of the Berkeley City Council. Bridget Dean, Mayor.
Thank you. And I just have to say, I had the opportunity to attend the post-election conversation town hall that was just held at the library this past Friday. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, Reps Price and Weiss were also there. They were the panel. And they were there to talk about the election and answer questions. We had, in Michigan, this election had a record number of voters at 5.7 million. And the largest group of voters who registered never before voting was 60 and over age-wise, and I was really surprised by that. And I just want to give a heartfelt thanks to you, Victoria, to Rachel Patterson, our deputy clerk, and Amy Bessler, our election specialist. I know, how much time and effort and professionalism you put into this to ensure that Berkeley voters not only can vote safely, but that it's accurate and everything's done by the book. And I know the attention to detail that you bring to all those election tasks. And so to you and your team, thank you so much for all that you do here for us in Berkeley.
Thank
Appreciate you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and Carl, I think you would like to make a big announcement.
Huge announcement in
Yes.
my office for sure.
Yes.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be in front of you as usual. I had cut the speech down from 10 to 15 minutes, so. But just excited to be here tonight to introduce Amy Zarowski, our new Deputy Finance Director. As you know, we've been a little understaffed for 2 months and finally attracted a wonderful candidate who I tricked her into coming here. So Nate and I, we talked her into it. So, but she comes to us with 20 years experience, more than 20 years of experience in the government industry as well as in the corporate industry. So a lot of project accounting, a lot of innovative ideas impressed us during her interview process, and looking forward to having her get her hands on our finance department and help me restructure it and help us off accept our additional new staff member, hopefully very shortly. So with that, just wanted to show Amy to you. So when you see her running around here, you'll name with the face. And like I say, very excited. She started this morning. So
Excellent. We're really happy to have you, Amy. I know Carl's excited to have you in the department, and we look forward to yet another addition to our finance department. I think that there will be great things ahead for us, and maybe new eyes, new ways of looking at things, new ways of doing things, and getting some other processes in place. So we're really happy to have you. Anyone else from council want to say anything? Okay, thank
all right,
you.
appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to add one thing. Just with the energy between onboarding Amy and finding out today that we did get a signed offer pending background and all that, just the energy, it's palpable. So we are feeling really good right now. We're looking forward to onboarding our other person, getting us up to full staff and getting back to what we do best. So
Thank you.
thanks for your patience.
Yes. Well, right, not rushed, correct?
Yes, 100%.
Thank you.
Value adds up.
Yes. Okay, Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 2 on tonight's agenda.
Presentation, matter of receiving a presentation from members of Oakland County Water Resources Commission regarding the Home Guard Backwater Prevention Pilot Program.
Thank you. Mr. Geinzer, do you have an intro for this?
This would be Deputy City Manager Young would be
Okay.
best to introduce this item.
All right.
Good evening. Home Guard system, our Home Guard program. Oakland County came to us with an exciting opportunity for our residents. Do some stormwater improvements, make improvements at the actual homes. That's the best way to stop it, is go to the actual homes and stop the water in the basements. They're here to explain a little more. We've done some initial outreach, but hopefully this next round we'll get some more people online to get some work done.
Great. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here, us here. I have Alyssa with me as well from the county. My name's Jen Cook. I work for Jim Nash. You may be familiar, the Water Resources Commissioner for Oakland County. Do I have a...
You don't. I apologize. Just next slide.
All right, next slide. So just here to give you guys just an overview. I'll try not to take up too much time, but please, by all means, let me know if you have questions or if I'm moving too fast, because I want to do a quick overview for you guys on what the Home Guard pilot program is. So Home Guard's kind of the name. This is our official marketing line, I guess. What is Home Guard? A subsidized program created to help prevent wastewater and stormwater from entering homes during heavy localized rains, aka help stop basement backups. Next slide. So it's affordable. We're saving homeowners up to $15,000 in labor and material costs for the equipment we're putting in for them. It's easy. We've pre-qualified contractors. We're working with Rolls Mechanical. They're out of Fenton, Michigan, but they're doing a great job. We're really happy with them. Vetted their insurance and all that stuff that, I mean, I'm a homeowner myself. It's a pain, right? So took care of that for you guys. Building resilience within the community and being proactive. Next slide. So how it works, I won't go into too much detail. I assume you guys know what a basement backup is. So that's on the left. Obviously, when the system, since Berkley is predominantly, if not all, a combined sewer system, when we get heavy rains occasionally and unfortunately, sometimes they back up into your basement. We will go into a home and install 1 or 2 backwater valves as well as a sump pump, depending on the plumbing of the home. But we'll go in and tell the homeowner what they need and put in everything that they need for a full installation. And a happy little picture shows no more water in the basement. This is just a schematic of what a backwater valve is. It's a pretty simple, it's not powered by, it's automatic, you could say. There's just flat valve, right? So water goes this way, it opens the valve. Water comes this way, it's hitting a hard stop and can't come back. So it's pretty simple, foolproof, if you will, hopefully. Next slide, please. So obviously we're here in the wonderful city of Berkeley, and I mentioned earlier, this is a pilot program. So the large-scale effort is to gather kind of lessons learned and knowledge on vet our processes and our approach so that we can get funding for a much larger audience, hopefully in the future. But to do that, we had to start somewhere. So our friends here at Berkeley were interested in partnering with us, which was great. And you can see in the southeast corner, you guys know what Berkeley looks like. So the next slide just shows you the streets so you can see it a little bit better. Larkmore, 11 Mile, Woodward, and Cass is our pilot area. We did release a handful of homes outside of the pilot area for inspections and did some of that could call it kind of a scatter shot outside of the pilot area to help vet what we're seeing in this one corner and just kind of give us a bigger picture view. But we are predominantly and currently focused on this area right here, which, if you go to the next slide, I believe is 536 homes. So this is kind of a high-level summary of the marketing that we've done. We started the public meeting in April, was kind of the kickoff of the program. We started marketing, I don't know, before or after, around April, in the summer. We've done door hangers. We also mailed letters because a lot of people, I don't know, the door hangers blew away or they didn't read them. It happens. We've been at the Berkeley Farmers Market advertising the program. We've got a lot of information and FAQs on our website, as well as, I believe, now linked through the Berkeley website. And obviously, I'm here tonight talking to you guys and making sure you're well informed. Next slide, please. So this is a quick, just a handful of pictures, obviously, of the before, during, and after. Before, we're typically seeing unfinished, your typical Michigan basements. That's kind of one of the lessons learned we were out to find. In this area, it is generally unfinished concrete floors. Anything that's a really fancy finish we might not take on in the pilot program just because of the liability, and we don't want to upset homeowners. But for the most part, it's pretty quick and dirty. The during, I will say, is dirty. It is jackhammering your concrete floor. It is buckets of mud. It is a mess. But Rolls, again, does a great job. They put plastic down from the entry, whatever entry door, to the basement. On the stairs, they hang plastic, sheeting to prevent dust. And they do a really good job. We've had pretty positive experiences with homeowners. And we also have a WRC inspector out with every inspection and out there daily, making sure that they're following the procedures that we like them to follow. So the during is messy, but the after, they also leave it pretty clean and nice looking. A handful of folks have had tile floors that we were able to put back tile if they had spares, but generally it looks kind of like what you see there. The nice plastic covering so you can access your stuff. Rolls will leave them with information on how to maintain it and what it is. But once they're done, inspections are complete, which includes city permitting inspections as well as WRC inspections. It's the homeowners. We don't follow up. We're not maintaining it. It's yours. Next slide. So some numbers so far within our 536 home pilot area. This is, I think, as of Friday, so it's pretty up to date. Every day we tend to get a couple more applicants, but 128 homes have applied. About a quarter of the pilot area have applied. Of those, and this is just in the pilot area, like I said, we did some outside as well. But so of those homes, Most of them have either had or will soon have their inspections. I think we're scheduled out till about mid-December right now, and we do generally up to 3 inspections a day. And of the inspections that have been completed, 30 homes have either had their installs done or are in process or scheduled, which works out to about a 40% conversion rate as far as we go in your basement and take a look, and you do or do not proceed with the program. Next slide. So applying for the program, pretty simple. It's the website right there. We've also got QR codes and all sorts of other fancy ways to get you. And at the end of the presentation, there's also a dedicated Home Guard email and phone number. So if you don't like the internet, you can just call us and we'll apply for you. It's your name and address, basically. It's a pretty simple process, but it puts it into our internet-based management system. So once you apply, we'll let you know that we got your application. You're either in the wait list or you're in the pilot area. We'll let you know either way, so you know that we know that you applied. And then Rolls Mechanical will take it from there. They'll schedule directly with the homeowner and find a good time for inspections to come out. They will then come out with our inspector as well, and they'll look at your basement, make sure it's safe, accessible. We could get to where we need to. Most often, they'll also TV camera the line to take a look at the condition, and assuming everything looks good and is in good shape, the homeowner can then, if they want, on the spot, sign the agreement and pay a $100 participation fee. That's the only money that the homeowner ever needs to pay for the program. If they don't qualify, we will let them know why. It's often their sewer line's not in great condition, so Rolls will offer to give them a quote if they want for the work. They don't have to take it. They don't even have to get the quote. I personally find it convenient. Some homeowners don't want it or just don't have the money to put into it. We also do provide, there's information through Oakland County, a homeowner program for low-income folks that may or may, I know we've had at least 1 or 2 folks apply, and I believe get money through that as well if they need to do repairs. So once they can also do repairs and then kind of re-qualify for the program. And if they, either way, once they, get to the point where we accept them, they schedule the installation. It's 3 to 5 days, depending on what they find in the basement, to get it done. And then we're out of their hair. Like I said earlier, Berkley inspectors will do typically electrical if we're putting in a sump pump and plumbing inspection, and our own inspectors just to make sure it's up to county standards on what we like to see for work. And we document the whole process as well. And then we hopefully have a happy and protected homeowner. And I think the last slide is that's the phone number and the email address for directly to WRC Home Guard. Spread the word, and happy to answer any questions if you have any. Hopefully that wasn't too fast.
No, it was all really good information. Is your sense that, were you expecting, I guess, more people in that pilot area to participate? How are those numbers compared to what your expectation might have been?
So the initial advertising marketing was the door hangers, and we had a good response to that, but not as great as we wanted. So we followed that up with a letter in the mail, and we got really good response to that. Okay. So we're kind of, after the holidays, we're going to reconvene and internally at WRC and decide what type of marketing we want to do to continue. I think, we definitely would like more than that 25% response rate, and I think the holidays, obviously,
right.
Nobody wants to worry, hopefully, about their sewer line right now, but we'll probably renew some marketing efforts in January.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for being here tonight, both of you, and for this program. I know it can bring tremendous benefit to homeowners like us here in the city. I love the program. I was going to ask about the communication outreach. Sounds like you've got a good plan in place, and between the website and the door hangers and the emails and the phone numbers and letters and all that good stuff.
And coordinating with your staff as well. I want to make sure we stay in pretty regular coordination with Caitlin Flores and Alyssa here.
Excellent.
Coordinate regularly on the marketing.
Yeah, the terrific partnership all the way around. We paid to have ours done back in 2017 after the second flood, and we already had a sump pump, and so they were able to put the check valve on the outside in the front yard to kind of just shut the whole system off all in just one spot. Is that an option for homeowners this time, depending on how things look, or is it only going to be internal?
It is not an option for the Home Guard program. It is a solution in general. The way we've decided to design, we thought it's more accessible. There's pros and cons to the. I've had homeowners reach out and ask that, so we are just installing it in the basement. But yeah, that's certainly a solution.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just to help clarify what folks could expect, and you've done a great job showing like the before, during, and after, and things like that. So I think that's great, and thank you again for making this program happen. Knock on wood, we never want to have to go through floods like that again, but being proactive, and you pointed out that earlier, is really key to help in protecting our homes, our most valuable asset. So thank you again.
And I think I did say it, but the long-term goal is federal funding. So like lots more
Right.
federal funding. It's a large, and not just Berkley, obviously the county. We've got a lot of kind of hot areas, I would say, with combined sewers that we're trying to be able to help address over the next, hopefully, handful of years.
Yeah, nice. Thank you again.
Thank you. Councilmember Black?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Jennifer, do you all have a handle on, is this beneficial for new construction? So obviously
Berkeley is an interesting city in that we have probably just as much, newer homes as older homes. So, I mean, is this really, I guess, an older home program, or, are you finding that you all have been able to do this with some of the newer construction also, or has that typically not been an option?
So new construction, correct me if I'm wrong, should have separate systems. So yeah, so if a new home is constructed properly, they shouldn't need this. They should already be protected. So we are probably seeing, I think in the neighborhood we're working in is more established older homes as well. But it has nothing, if you don't have a backwater valve, we're not here to wonder why or check the dates and see if you're, out of code. We'll put it in if it's needed. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Councilmember Hennon?
Yeah, first, again, I give my great appreciation for this. I love this program. I think it's the most cost-effective way we can, deal with this combined sewer issue. But how many more homes do you feel like there's funding left for in the pilot program?
So we estimated about 70 homes at the beginning. Some homes only need one valve. Some homes need two valves and a sump pump. A rare home needs three valves or whatever. So the prices is not cut and dry, but we're on track probably for about 70 homes as our
70 total, including what's already been done.
installations, which, as you saw, inspections is a lot more, obviously, than 70, so.
Yeah, and then if the pilot program is successful, which it sounds like it is, what is the next step to expanding it to the rest of our city and to the rest of the county?
So HRC is our engineering partner on this. So once we decide that we've got enough, served enough homes, ran out of money, whichever it is, we will have them do a report, kind of crunch the data, list lessons learned. We've already got a lot of kind of unofficial lessons learned and tweak the program almost daily. But so we'll have that report, and we will be applying for federal grants. FEMA specifically has, I think it's the BRIC loan is one that we tried to apply for a couple of years ago, and we're basically told, come back when you have more information and more data, more interest, like proven interest. So that's kind of what we're doing here.
Are you aware of any other programs anywhere in the nation that's similar to this?
Yes, Detroit has a large program, Ann Arbor, several other cities, which HRC, we had meetings with Detroit. They're kind of, they've had a lot of lessons learned, and they've done a similar recently, so we talked to them a lot. It's a bit of a different community, so we're not doing it the exact same way Detroit is, but yes, we reached out to communities when we were developing our program to see what worked and what didn't.
Been successful in getting federal funding?
Yes, yeah. Detroit, I believe, is on their second round of a large-scale backwater valve program, and they've actually were able to add, like I said earlier, a lot of homes are not qualified because the drain line, I think I said this, the drain line's not in good condition. So Detroit, I believe, has even added those repairs to the services, which would be a big difference because a lot of homeowners don't have that kind of money.
That's all excellent news. Thank you very much.
But patience. It's not going to be next year. It's going to.
Understood.
Mayor Pro Tem Gavin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here. And of course, thanks to Commissioner Nash as well. Just another great example of the partnership that he always engages in. So thank you. The question I have is, do we have an idea of how many individuals who applied but were then denied?
So and by deny, you mean like they didn't
That we didn't
qualify
end up
for,
in stock, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it's about, well, I said the conversion rate was 40%, so that would lead about 60%. So, and the reasons for not qualifying, like I said, condition of your sewer line is the biggest reason. We're seeing, especially older homes, in reference to the question earlier, sometimes there's connections to the sewer line that we just don't know where they came from.
Okay.
And if we can't figure that out, that's just going to push you back up to somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we know what's going on. And then occasionally we've had some folks apply that already had the infrastructure. Maybe they didn't realize they had it or whatnot. We'll still come in and just make sure it's all in good order and help them, make sure they know how to maintain their stuff. And then a small portion of folks apply, but we weren't able to get in touch with them to schedule the inspection we don't know why, but that's like, the last two categories is probably 10% or less of applicants. So of the people that we get into their basements and do a full on, it's looking 50 to 60% do not qualify.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Which would go back to kind of the lessons learned from Detroit. That's, if we were able to have funding to make the program more robust services, that would certainly increase those numbers quite a bit.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, 2A.
Motion number M124, matter of approving a budgeted purchase and installation of a new sewer camera inspection system from Jack Doheny Companies of Northville, Michigan, utilizing the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Group contract number 120721-RVL in the amount of $221,159.23. The purchase is budgeted under account number 592-536-985-000 water and sewer vehicle.
Is there a motion to approve M124?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennan with support from Councilmember Baker. No, what am I doing? Right to Sean, sorry.
So this one was originally on consent, but we figured it'd be a great opportunity to not only show why we're buying this camera, but what we actually do with it and why it's important to the community. Next slide when you get a chance. One more slide. So we normally clean and inspect roughly 50 miles of sewer on an annual basis. So when I say annual, it takes us about 3 years to go through and do a full inspection of our whole system. These are done to the NASCO. It's a globally recognized standard, National Association of Sewer Companies. So it's a standardized rating. So the guys on the crew can rate the sewer. The engineers have that same rating. Everybody's talking the same language. A crack is a crack. A hinge is a hinge. It's standardized.
Kind of like a PASER rating for roads? but
Exactly
this
like a
is-
PASER
okay.
rating, yep. We currently have 4 staff members that are certified to do that. And that's not only mainline, it's mainline, laterals, and manholes, so everything gets rated the same. Next slide. One more. We got a couple examples here. So when they're doing the rating, this is the pipe graph reports. So this would be the information that would go to say an engineer, and there's a scoring on the bottom, so that helps direct us to our worst lines in the city. So as we do our ratings, here's our scoring on the bottoms. We take that, add that to criticality of failure. So depending who's on the line, is it under Coolidge, is it under 12 Mile, items like that. Say, where do we need to go for these repairs? We have limited funds. What's our top priorities? Next slide. With that, we've been adding items to the GIS. I know this is kind of small, but here's our network. All of the yellow lines are sewers that we've structurally lined. So when you see that yellow, that's what that is. Next slide. So here's our current video quality. This is a sewer that was recently replaced. We did a dig on Oxford, emergency repair. This was our cleanest bad video, if that makes sense. So we won't play the whole thing. We'll only play a little bit of it, but you can see the video quality and what's going on here. You can see the sewers all cracked up. And with our old camera, this was top of the line back when we bought it 10, 12 years ago. So we can stop that one and move to the next one.
Were we looking at a house?
No,
thing
this
there,
is
or
the main.
on
This is the
on a
main line sewer on Oxford.
Oxford on Main, okay.
Yep.
Main on Oxford, yeah.
So here's the upgraded. You see the video quality, the difference between the two. So the rating process is much easier with a clear video, and just disparity between the two. It's we're light years ahead of what we were 10 years ago. Is that one playing, or is it still on?
It's playing.
It's playing, yeah.
You can probably fast forward a little bit if you want.
Are we looking at the same segment
Oh,
here?
no, this is a different segment. But this one shows, we go up and turn and we look at each tap. And when we're rating pipe, most of our disqualifying or worse rating actually comes from homeowners' taps. So if your sewer's got a hole in it, that whole line now has a 5. If a tap is disconnected, that counts as a hole. So when we do that rating, we also got to investigate, why is it a 5? Is it structural main line, or is it a homeowner's issue? So we can probably stop that one and move forward. Unless you want to watch another 10 minutes of that.
Nope, thanks. I mean, I was hoping for video, but that's
yeah.
good.
We should have given you, don't eat before you come.
Yeah.
We're gonna go further.
There's a lot of those videos, but it's clean.
No need.
So why are we replacing it, and what happens to the old one? So original camera was purchased in 2014, and then we added the lateral launch unit in 2018. So the lateral launch unit allows us to go up the homeowner's laterals. We can go up and kind of look. So before a road project, we will check all those, videotape them. If there's an issue, we'll let the homeowner know, hey, you've got an issue in your sewer. We've got a road project coming. You need to get it fixed. And now is going to be your cheapest alternative to get it fixed. But with that unit, it's old enough now. We've seen an increase in downtime. Technology's drastically changed, and the higher picture quality is going to give us a better overall rating. So the old unit, it's not in horrible condition, but it is time to replace it. The chassis and the body, I should replace it. The chassis and the body of the truck, we're going to reutilize, save some money, reutilize that. That's still in good condition. It's old, but it's in good condition. There's not a lot of resale there because it was upfitted a certain way. Without the equipment in it, there's not a lot of resale to it. So it just makes sense to reutilize that. Most of the time it's running off a generator, which we've already replaced, and that's on a separate replacement cycle. So the truck drives to the location, generator runs, the truck just sits. So it doesn't make sense to replace it this time. The new operating system is backwards compatible with our old system. So our old equipment will work with the new operating system. So there's several pieces like the crawler that we're probably going to save as a spare. So if we do have something go down, even though it's a lower quality, we can still use it.
Sure.
Anything else that is deemed non-usable would be auction or surplus, and it would come back before council before it was sold or disposed of. And how did we choose the replacement? We were really happy with our current configuration, current unit. So we went back with the same model. The local vendor, Jack Dehaney Companies, they're still there. They do nationwide. They're all over the place. They actually, IBOC is the manufacturer. If they have classes, we can send our staff down, and they'll be certified in repair. So we could do some of those repairs in-house. And then the pricing was through the Sourcewell cooperative contract. And I know there's been a lot of questions about cooperative contracts, but Sourcewell was created by a Minnesota legislature, and it's its own local unit of government. Their sole purpose is to find the best, cheapest alternatives for cities, states, county governments. Matter of fact, all other employees are government employees. Any questions?
Questions or discussion from council? Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, as always. Certainly, following up on the prior presentation in particular, this is most timely.
Yeah.
Do we have an anticipated delivery schedule? Do we know, is this like, 3 years lead time like some of our trucks and stuff? Or do they have it on the shelf, they can drop it off tomorrow, that kind of thing?
It is 3 to 4 months before the product comes in, and once it's there and it's in the queue to be put in, it's a week or two when we've got it back.
Nice.
It's pretty quick retrofit because it's the same system. A lot of the stuff's going to fit right in the same spot. It's not like a new build; it's years out. So.
Cool. Any particular training or certification or anything required, or is it pretty much just, we kind of know what to do and we'll push the right buttons and make it happen?
Kind of that way. There is going to be a learning curve. The software is going to be a little different.
Sure.
But if anything, it's a lot easier now. The software forces you to check these boxes where previously, if you forgot to check it and we forwarded it on, you had to go back and figure out what you missed. Now it won't let you proceed to the next step without checking those boxes.
Nice. Great. Thank you.
Councilmember Black? You unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Madam Mayor. In your presentation, you mentioned increase in repairs and downtime with the current unit. Is there just a shelf life to this thing? Like every few years we have to accept that we're going to get it, or is there anything that we can do to reduce the repairs and downtime of future purchases, or is this just one of these things that every 5 years we're going to get it like a new iPhone, so to speak?
I think it maybe in the 10-year mark. I think that's where we're at now is a 10-year mark. A lot of it has to do with parts. It's older equipment, so they're not in production as normal as they normally be with a newer unit. So some of the parts, it's a German camera, so they're coming from Germany, where the newer cameras they stock in-house. There's just not a lot of demand for that older stuff. And it's not a extreme amount of downtime, but it's more than they need to be out doing source. We can't have it down for 2 months at a time, waiting on parts. We're busy enough trying to get through our system in 3 years that 2 month downtime is just unacceptable for us.
Thank you.
That's part of the training where we can have some of our own staff also go down and be trained, and there's no charge for that. They do that as part of the camera purchase.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a follow-up, yeah.
Sure.
Well, thank you. The thought occurs, if someone, you said a 3-year cycle and the videotapes are, here I am videotape, the digital files. If a homeowner were curious to see either their street or the intersection or something near their house, is there a process that they could make an appointment and come in and see that? Or how might somebody who was just kind of curious about what their backyard the area looks like, how could they go about doing that?
We do have, if they're looking for just locations, we have what's called a design mistig they can request. So like a new house, where's the sewer, where's the water main? They do a design mistig and that comes in. That also will bring in consumers' energy, all your fiber, tell them where they're at. As a process, we normally, if a homeowner says, hey, I want to see my sewer, we really don't videotape that. We won't go out and videotape it for them. Main line is main line. If there's someone emails, we can show them a picture of the main line. Doesn't really tell them a lot other than, well, it's the same video you just saw here.
Right.
Yeah.
We try not to, we don't get in the habit of filming private stuff, unless it's a big project. If we're doing the whole run, we'll do the whole run, and homeowners are more than welcome to that information. That's why we're doing it, to try and get those repairs done before we get there. But as far as, hey, my sewer's backed up, can you come check it for me? We don't do that.
Right, yeah, I was thinking as part of the routine canvassing of the city, right, the files are someplace, and if someone wanted to see it, they'd just reach out to your department, something like that?
Yeah, if there's something,
Yeah, thanks. But of course, yeah, special requests
Yeah.
we're not really staffed or funded for that, so, yeah, thank you again.
thank you.
Yes, thank you, Director Young. Appreciate it.
No problem. That, also.
Good. Okay, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M124.
Hennan,
Yes.
Patterson.
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black, Gavin,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, M124 has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 3 on tonight's agenda.
Motion number M10524, matter of approving the proposal from Bureau Veritas to complete a facility condition assessment and approve a corresponding budget amendment for $27,500. Bureau Veritas was pre-qualified through an Omnia Purchasing Group request for the qualifications process, contract number SV8105. This professional service is being funded from account 101-267-818-000.
Is there a motion to approve M10524?
So moved.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gavin,
Support.
with support from Councilmember Hennan.
I'm going to start briefly, and then we'll turn it over to Manager Brown here. So as council knows, we've been working to try to identify long-term fiscal picture. And one of the big components that we're missing is an understanding of what we truly need to be investing in our facilities. I think Alex will talk about this here in a moment, but my understanding, I think the last time this was done was over 10 years ago?
2014, correct.
2014. So everything that we have is completely irrelevant, and we work to try to identify what's the most cost-effective way we can get this data. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to our facilities manager, Alex Brown.
Thank you. Mr.
Thank
Brown?
you. Good evening. Kind of excited to bring this to you guys tonight. This has been something I've been wanting to get done and been kind of in the process since I've been on staff here for about 3 years. So I'm excited to be hopefully moving forward with this. This is a comprehensive facilities assessment that's being proposed to us tonight from Bureau Veritas, who comes highly recommended to us from the city of Ferndale. And I believe I included that link in the weekly to you guys last week, and you could kind of see the quality of the report that they provide back on their services. Reached out to them to kind of get some information, felt comfortable going with Bureau Veritas after talking with them and with Ferndale. They're going to provide a really, really in-depth process here for our facilities that are in pretty dire need, some of them. The big thing that I'm looking forward to, they're going to be doing a lot of on-site interviews with people, probably myself and other directors, to kind of get the insight on what's going on with the buildings outside of just what they can see. There's a lot of things that look okay or might appear okay, but people that are in these buildings every day are going to be able to give them a lot more insight. They also, as part of their proposal, will be providing a digital, I guess it's like a cloud-based type asset data. I'm trying to find the name of it here for you. Asset Calc. It's going to be a app that we're going to have full access to for unlimited time. That'll give us all the conditions of every piece of equipment we have, every vehicle, every HVAC unit, all those types of things. It's going to be in a cloud-based database for us to be able to access to use in our capital planning and budgeting moving forward. Let me see if there's anything else I want to mention on there. And this is, city manager mentioned, it's been 10 plus years, and a lot of the issues that we were looking at 10 years ago, that was the first thing I was actually handed. The first day I started, that was put on my desk, and I looked at it, and it was already 7 years old at that point. So a lot of those things are still existing. We've made some progress on some of the stuff, but there's some bigger issues out there that are going to be brought to light with this condition assessment and this report, and be able to help us really make those big plans for what we want to kind of set our sights on moving forward.
Do you think, or do you know who did the previous facilities assessment?
It was a company called Stantec, I believe they're a local, Berkley, right down the street. Yeah. They, in 2014, correct.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you. Councilmember Baker.
Thank you. As the grizzled old veteran who was there for the study last time, yeah, the Stantec report was really good. I'm glad to hear that at least we've had that as a frame of reference to see, we want to have it be at least as comprehensive as that, if not more. And I'm real pleased with what we've heard and the proposal that's been put forth for us tonight. Can you explain a little bit about some of the timing, like when it would start, how long it would take, the review process? Is there a community outreach component to this in terms of sharing the information and the findings? That
Yeah,
kind of stuff?
absolutely. When I first met with them and talked to them, they said they would be about 2 weeks out to start, and that was about a month ago, so I would probably say around that time frame to get going. They will spend probably 2 weeks on site in the city, traveling to the various sites and conducting their inspections. The report back is, they said 55 days we should have the report on our table ready to present. And then once that kind of comes up, I think maybe some kind of sharing presentation, either if it's at a council meeting or in some sort of maybe special kind of session, we could do that, and I'd be glad to kind of handle those things and present that to the community with what we found, and then maybe kind of get some input on what the community thinks might be the direction, and then we'll have our discussions as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I do recall the findings and the sort of the summary, right? Obviously, the report was very comprehensive,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't imagine we'd get through every single page.
Right.
But there's just the highlights to kind of give us the assessment, a grading scale, A through F, or if it was, red, yellow, green, that kind
Right.
of thing, so we can get a feel for where we're at. The importance of this is difficult to understate in the sense that, these are the facilities that we use to operate our municipality. These are the places where we have amazing people that come here to work every day and provide services to the businesses and residents that come in. And so being able to understand where we're at and the types of conditions that we have will help us, as was mentioned, with the capital planning going forward. And what this is not going to do is, right now anyway, position us for any kind of initiative or ballot type of thing. Rather, this is an important an early step in understanding the long-term vision for what we need to work on and how we can make it reasonable and yet safe and functional and represent the best that Berkley can be. So I'm very excited about this project and I'm looking forward to helping support it however I can.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Councilmember Hennan.
Yeah, so the output of this, just verifying that it's going to give us the tools to do the short and the medium and the long-term planning we need to, and also the tools for just figuring out the maintenance and replacement costs and cycles so that we can properly capture those in our budget and keep things up to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to give us all those 5, 10, 20-year kind of longer, bigger project plans that we're going to need to do. It's also will, like you said, mention like replacement cycle items that we'll be able to have a better planning for our budgeting. Exactly. Like with the new HVAC system, that's the first thing that came to mind. Okay, that's going to be brand new. I want them, they're going to be able to put in the report, okay, in 10 years, let's replace that or look into replacing that so we don't kind of end up in another situation where we're replacing 30, 35-year-old equipment, kind of get ahead of the curve and be more proactive. Absolutely.
And on a, say, annual basis, as we do repairs and upgrades, will we be able to update this database or?
It's my understanding, yeah, that we'll have kind of that control, and then it's also able to kind of export it to a spreadsheet per se, and maybe that would be more where we could kind of edit it on our end and then have that as well.
So this is just going to end up being a long-term planning tool for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
I did have a quick follow-up if you don't mind.
Okay.
On that, and then I could go after, certainly after. Thank you.
Councilmember Black.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Baker mentioned these 5 properties are key to our daily business as a municipality. For folks at home that might be asking, hey, we work in these properties every day. They've been around a while. Why isn't this something that we can do ourselves? We obviously have very smart, very dedicated people. Why, what is the outsider going to add to this that we can't figure out from our daily interaction with these properties?
That's a great question. I think the main thing that comes to mind is just the time and effort to be able to do it. And I'm just one person in my department, so I would assume that would be kind of fall onto me, and I think that would take me many, many weeks, if not months, to do, then to prepare a report. Also, these guys will be bringing in experts in each of the different kind of areas. They're going to have an HVAC person, they're going to have a roofing person, someone that kind of specializes in each special area of each building. So we'll get, you know, an expert opinion on all those different things.
Thank you.
If I may, thank you. Yeah, just additional clarification, and thank you for sparking the thought. What this report will do is help show what it would take to make the current facilities and buildings better. What it will not do is project a vision for a different kind of thing, like a city hall renovation or a new community center. It would say, given the existing city hall, here are the things we can do to make it a bit more, habitable, and given our current community center, this is what we could do to make it a bit more pleasant to be in, right? It won't project a vision for here's what a new community center could look like. It just says, here's what we have today, and I'm just checking in.
Well, I mean, yeah, it'll definitely kind of give us the best outcome for what we currently are in, and then I think those reports will definitely be able to guide us in the planning of, hey, this is X amount to fix A, B, or C. The return on investment there might not be there, so it might be more beneficial to go towards a new building or a new property or something.
Right, so
like
it could
that.
at least kind of identify that there's a door there that we might want to open to say.
Right, it's going to give us
consider
the
this.
steps to kind of like lead us down the right path, I think.
Okay,
Yep.
but it wouldn't like do a whole comprehensive, here's what a new community center could look like. It's
No,
just
I
like,
think that
here's
could be
the-
a supplemental. I think if we get into that and we get to that point where hey, this is going to be too much replacement value, this is too high, maybe we need to have them kind of give us an idea of what the next step would be, and they could probably provide that service as well.
Perfect, thank you, because
Yep.
that's a couple steps down the road. Right now, as you pointed out, we want to understand our current state
Right.
and what it would take to make the facilities that we currently operate out of better, safer, more habitable, those types of things. Yeah,
Absolutely.
perfect, thank you again.
Yep.
I appreciate the clarification.
Mr. Geinzer?
Yes, I just want to go back to the prior question. A lot of what's driving this is we've got holes in our data. And in the last budget process, council asked us to bring back a more robust and improved CIP document, something that we can actually use to create a long-term budget on, which is data we don't have available. Quite honestly, to Councilmember Black's point, we don't have the expertise in-house to do that. That's a fact. We also don't have the time to deliver this type of a comprehensive report in a timely manner for the budget process, which is literally right around the corner. We come back from holidays and we're starting budget. I think that to some of the other conversations about what is this going to tell us and what it's not, essentially it's going to give us data to facilitate further conversation and to budget better. That's it.
Yep.
It's not going to go any further than that. That will have to come after other discussions with council and quite honestly, conversations with the community about what we want to do. It's going to give us the information on, one thing that Alex and I have been talking about is the facade of this building. Why do we care about the facade of this building? Well, one, it's ugly, but two, we get rats. And so at a certain point, do we replace the facade or do we need to do something further? That's the type of information this is going to provide us. Is not, this is what has to be done. It's,
Right.
here's what it's going to look like if you take a couple different paths.
So this is exactly, you're giving us what we've asked for in light of the upcoming budget and looking at those capital improvements, equipment replacement, all those things. So
It's a
this is
piece of it.
Piece of that.
Sean and Alex and the rest of their staff and Kristen are working on the actual CIP planning process. So the behind the scenes working with the different departments to put that plan together. This plan will inform those planning efforts.
Perfect.
That then feeds into the budget process itself.
And then the priorities that we
Correct.
determine as a community.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. Public comment. Oh, wait, sorry, who? did I
Okay,
miss
I'll
you?
go ahead. Yeah, and just an additional value add is the software. I looked into evaluating that, and this is used by large universities, large institutions. So there's going to be everything we could imagine that we need in it, and it's all inclusive in this price that we're paying.
Great. Okay, thank you. Public comment? Okay. Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M 10524.
Patterson?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Black? Gavin?
Yes.
Hennan?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes, the motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 4 on tonight's regular agenda.
Ordinance number O-1024, first reading of an ordinance to amend section 106-310, requirements of Article 8, parklets of Chapter 106, street sidewalks and other public places of the City of Berkeley Code of Ordinances to permit parklets between November 1st and March 31st at the discretion of the Department of Public Works.
Is there a motion to approve O-1024?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Baker with support from Councilmember Patterson. Mr. Geinzer, or do you want me to?
I'm going to hand this right off
Okay,
to
Ms.
Director
Kapolansky.
Kapolansky.
Thank you, and good evening to everyone. So this is a pretty small amendment to the parklets ordinance, but one that came about at the request of the restaurant that's proposed to go in at Beverly and Coolidge. So I'll kind of start there in terms of explaining why I'm before you this evening requesting this. So if you'll recall, on Beverly, we have some on-street parking spaces, but they're a little bit unique in that they're kind of pull-off spots. So they're not like the Coolidge parking spaces that are right on street where a plow would come down and just take care of everything all at once. They're kind of off of the regular Beverly right-of-way area, but still part of our right-of-way. So the new restaurant is interested in installing a parklet, which is wonderful, but they expressed some apprehension at having to store the furnishings and the decking and everything in the time in the ordinance that parklets were not allowed. So that's November 1st to March 31st, and they wonder if there was any accommodations that could be made because of the unique nature of those particular spots. So I talked with Director Young, and he didn't feel like there would be any issue in that particular instance with it affecting our snow plowing efforts or anything else that the DPW department might be working on. So we are bringing forward to you tonight an amendment that would allow for the use of parklets between November and March in instances where they will not interfere with DPW operations and at the discretion of the approval of the DPW department.
Thank you. Questions from council?
I just have one. Are any parklets currently operating?
No, they are not right now, but if you'll remember when we started this conversation, it is a significant investment, which is partly why I'm before you this evening. So I believe it was anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 to install and provide furnishings and all of that, and that rests solely with the business. And so that storage cost on top of that, I think it's made it difficult for some of our businesses to consider that. I have had several conversations with businesses. In some instances, the location just was not going to work out with the distance from intersections and crosswalks and things. And in other instances, they felt like the cost of the private installation and private decking and furniture was just too high. But this is one where they really feel like it'd be a huge value add to their business. And so we're trying to work with them and make sure that in instances where it doesn't interfere with our operations, that we're being that good economic development partner.
Councilmember Hennan.
Yeah, one thing I just thought of is I would like if we could be held harmless if the snowplows do damage their stuff, because they're still going to need to go down there at speed. And I don't know if that needs to be part of the ordinance or if we can do that separately.
So the people who are installing parklets are required to sign a hold harmless agreement with the city, but I will review that and make sure that sort of thing is covered.
Great.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just very quickly, I want to say thank you. I think this is a really good example of passing an initial ordinance, finding where they're, kind of where people have or where businesses want to take advantage of such, and then realizing that there's a possibility of a change that might be able to improve on those numbers. And so I just want to say thank you for that, and certainly encourage that wherever it's possible throughout our ordinances.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Councilmember Black. I know I didn't see your hand raised, but I saw your face, and I thought maybe you wanted to chime in. So, okay. Any other questions or discussion from council? Public comment? Okay. Thank you very much for this. It's exciting, and just to piggyback on what Mayor Pro Tem Gavin said, I really do like seeing the flexibility and the willingness to look at things differently, and if it can, to find a way if it can work and to be, open to things like that. It's important. So thank you for your creative thinking on that, both departments, really.
Yeah, and I feel like that extends across the city. So
Sure.
all departments have really made an effort, I feel like, in all of our interactions with them to make sure that we can be flexible and accommodating where we're able.
Excellent. Thank you. Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on, excuse me, O-1024.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the ordinance has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 5 on tonight's regular agenda.
Motion number M10624, matter of approving the requested First Amendment to the vendor agreement with Double Hall Solutions to provide city manager transition support.
Is there a motion to approve M10624?
So moved.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gavin
Support?
with support from Councilmember Hennon. Mr. Geinzer.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. As I think many of you guys may or may not realize, tonight is my last official meeting as your interim manager. And to help support the transition, incoming manager Van Vleck, through Mayor Dean, has asked if I could provide some transitional support through at least the next couple months. We have a lot of things up in the air. We have a lot of projects that we've started. A couple ordinance possibly, but basically policy updates we've started working on. We have a number of other needs that we're trying to address, and ultimately we're also trying to onboard a new city manager who has already been working on that. She's been fantastic. So what was requested of me is approximately 10 hours a week through the months of December and January. She feels that would be sufficient. She can use them however she wants, quite honestly. I mean, if she decides, oh, look, I need you to put all your efforts into getting this civic event policy done. I don't want to deal with it. She would have that flexibility to use that in any way that she would like. Some of the other things that I would be supporting her with is just traditionally onboarding. As council knows, we've been working on getting some alignment behind some strategic priorities. I would help see that process through, including facilitating a discussion with council. I think we have it currently scheduled for December 18th. This is a critical piece of onboarding a new city manager, of making sure that the council and the new city manager have a shared set of expectations. You're working from the same deck of priorities. That's the only way you are going to be able to effectively hold a city manager accountable, and quite honestly, the city manager can hold the council accountable for helping us stay on track and keeping the staff team on track. And then anything else that she needs. I did keep this open. If there is a need beyond that, I did include my hourly rate. And regardless of what is decided, the contract term would end January 31st. So I didn't want this to be open-ended. I wanted to make sure that there is a clear end date. If there's any other need down the road, we would just deal with that as a separate scope of work that would be more like I would submit a proposal for any other project that I work on across the state. With that, I think that pretty much sums it up. I'd be happy to address any questions.
Questions from council? Councilmember Hennon.
First, just an observation and then a comment. We had discussed about this possibility when we first hired Mr. Geinzer, so this is nothing unexpected. We thought this would likely go this way. And then I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for the professionalism and the hard work that you've put into this, and I really appreciate everything you've done and brought for us, and feel really confident that you're going to be leaving us on a strong footing.
I feel much more confident about that today when we've gotten the new finance staff in place, so I was not going to let that one go. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, so, did you have something? No. Okay, I think that this is an important piece. We did leave it open to do that. I think it's important to set Ms. Van Vleck up for success. I know she has been, taking meetings and collaborating with you already. She's, anxious to get in here and get going, and she'll hit the ground running. And so I'm in full support of this, and I would also just like to thank you so much for the time you've spent with us here in Berkeley. I know I made reference to it initially when you came on that, you know, I do feel a change and the wind is at our back. And I can honestly say that what I felt then is even stronger now. We've had so many positive changes, processes put in place. I feel more cohesive as a council and with directors and staff. I mean, the time we spent together with Nancy doing that, I don't know, workshop, retreat, whatever, it just has done, I think, so much good just for priority setting and how are we going to move together as a community, as a group, all of our departments, and as a council. So thank you for everything you've done to set us up for success in that way, and we really appreciate your time here.
Again, appreciate it. Couldn't do it without these guys. Well, these are only some of them, obviously, but we're going to be picking that work up Friday. Miss Van Vleck is joining us for a half a day, and we're going to be finishing up an outline of kind of our recommendations for what we're going to limit to a 2-year strategic plan because we think that's where the focus needs to be right now. And then that's what we'll be discussing further December 18th. And ultimately, our hope is that you'll be adopting that. So both council and the new city manager and the staff are all working from the same playbook.
Excellent. It's a great plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any public input? Didn't think so. Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M 10624.
Black.
Yes.
Gavin.
Yes.
Hennon.
Yes.
Patterson.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 6 on tonight's regular agenda.
Resolution number R2324, matter of designating the time and place of city council meetings and its rules and order of procedure.
Is there a motion to approve R 2324? Motion made by Councilmember Patterson
Support.
with support from Councilmember Hennon. Mr. Geinzer.
Yes, I'm going to start, and Ms. Mitchell, if I miss anything, please let me know. Essentially, this is 2 items wrapped up in one. So every year, council takes a look at its rules and procedures for the upcoming calendar year. But this is also when you adopt the calendar year going forward, the meeting schedule and what have you. What we really need to walk out of here tonight is at least confirmation on the calendar, because we have notice requirements and things like that we need to make. But the other piece of this is, are there updates that are needing to take place within the council's rules and procedures? So what we've provided you tonight, because this is really your document. Staff can help guide, we can help research, we can help look at things, but ultimately this is your document. So we've provided you a copy of what you currently have in place. Ultimately we're looking for any direction that you may want to see in any changes, if there's any procedures that you want us to look at further, or at least pull some information together for. I mean, I think council knows, as was mentioned earlier, we are looking at the boards and commissions process already. So that's an amendment that would come at a later point down the road. And I think that covers most everything.
Yes.
There you have it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Discussion or questions from council?
Do we,
Sure.
do we want to take care of the calendar portion first and then look at the rules second?
Oh.
Just to kind of,
Okay.
if there's like the core and then there's the juicy stuff? Yeah. Yeah, perfect. So, any commentary or things on this? I mean, obviously, this isn't the first year that we've planned council meetings and things. We understand national holidays and elections and important events like that. Is there anything that you would like to highlight in terms
Thanks
of the
for
calendar
stalling.
year?
Because there was one thing that I know we've talked about, and actually I think there's 2 things. So currently, I gotta find where the calendar went. So currently, we've been talking about work sessions. And this calendar currently only anticipates your standard meetings, or your regular meetings, I should say. And how we've been handling work sessions is scheduling them as special meetings going forward. There's been a couple opportunities or times where a work session I think probably would have been valuable, but it's just been difficult to schedule, which everybody gets busy. So one suggestion the staff and I have been talking about, and also I've been talking with incoming city manager, is whether or not we just want to say that we're doing work sessions before every meeting at 5:30. And then you can cancel them if you don't need them. At least that way they're all on your calendar, they're there. That helps Ms. Van Vleck with scheduling out further, especially as we're working on long-term plans. We can say, well, okay, this work session 3 months from now, we would need to be ready on this topic. So that's one item. The other item I've talked a little bit with Crystal about, I think I've maybe talked a little bit with some of you about. I don't know what staff thinks, and they're welcome to chime in. I found it very difficult over the summer having only one meeting a month. I felt like we were just waiting too long for some items that needed to be addressed. I think we had, I want to say we had a couple really long meetings.
Yes, we
which
did.
I don't care about long meetings. I just care about productivity. And when you have that large of a gap, it can create some issues. Now, yes, we can always schedule special meetings. But now you're trying to schedule a special meeting in the middle of the summer when nobody's expecting to try to meet. So those are two areas that you may want to consider and talk about a little further.
Councilmember Baker.
Thank you. Yeah, just to kind of pick back up on that, I support both of those concepts. The notion of the work sessions I find to be incredibly valuable. Not only does council get a chance to work in an open forum on items of interest to the community in an informal manner, meaning no votes are taken, but yet to kind of explore the possibilities and gain additional deeper insights into what we might be evaluating or voting on in subsequent sessions. So I think those are great. And then also the second item that you mentioned, I think is going to be really really important for us, as we move forward with things. So yeah, I think
Based on what we've started to outline and what the work that I
Yeah,
think is going to come
having-
out of Friday, you're going to have a busy couple years.
And to the notion of like the additional meetings in the summer, I think part of the precipice or the impetus for that was concerns over quorum. I don't know that we've had issues gaining quorum in the summer months. So given if that had been the fundamental reason for reducing the number of meetings, I'd like to revisit that and see, continuing with more regularly scheduled meetings. Again, I mean, we were able to make quorum again tonight so we can conduct the city's business. And so I think having extra slots available to be more responsive to the needs of the community is really key.
I mean, you can always cancel the meetings. And we would, if you're going to go this route tonight, I think one thing we would want some direction on is when the meetings fall on a holiday. Now, what I'm used to is it typically gets pushed just to the following night. So if it's if July 4th's on a Monday, we're meeting July 5th on the Tuesday. Labor Day is that Tuesday. Sometimes I've also seen where it just gets pushed to the following Monday. So like instead of Labor Day, so next year you'd be meeting on the 8th? Am I reading that right? It'd be September 8th versus September 1st or something like that. So those might be some, would you want that tonight if they're going to be adding those dates, or do we want to bring the calendar back?
Well, I think we should bring the calendar back.
Okay, with it all together?
Yes, if that's fine with council.
Yes, I think
makes
that's
sense.
fine. You good with that?
So what I'm hearing is we want to see an updated calendar, work sessions starting at 5:30.
Yes.
Each of those Mondays, and we want to go to 2 meetings for those 3 months that we only have one scheduled.
Yes.
And then we'll, if the Monday of your regularly scheduled meeting falls on a holiday, do you prefer the next night or the next week?
I feel like the next week maybe, because if it's a holiday, people might be extending their days, so.
We have other commissions that meet.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Tuesdays.
Yes, good
Yeah,
call.
I generally don't disagree with that. My only question would be is that, let's say let's take Labor Day as the example. Can you fill both a September 8th agenda meeting and a September 15th agenda meeting?
Again, we can always cancel.
Okay.
Right.
It's going to depend on what's been stacking up.
Okay.
And again, this just provides us that the meeting's there. If stuff can wait at the staff meeting, Crystal's going to go around and say, well, we've only got one item on here. We don't need this meeting.
Right.
Mayor Dean, Mayor Pro Tem, what do you guys think? Let's take a night off.
Okay.
The other thing that we can always do too is, you know, you don't want to do this too much, but if for some reason that Monday's got something going on, maybe there's some sort of community event, just say, look, we're going to cancel it. Instead, we're going to do it on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it happens to be. But those will be rare occasions.
Councilmember Black, are you on board with this?
I am. That works especially well for me with my schedule, so it's better to have it there and plan for it, and if it doesn't happen, that's perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Any more direction on that one?
I do not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just observe, I think we can work around it, but the ZBA meetings are on Monday nights, often, not always, but often a week after the council meeting. But they don't meet literally half the time because there are no cases.
Got it.
So, and they're used to being bumped to Tuesdays when there already are conflicts occasionally. And January and February, we also only have one meeting those months. Are we looking, and I'm fine with.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Doing
Yeah.
two meetings in those months as well. Those are because they fall on holidays, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay.
And that, I mean, I think we'd probably be better off if we treat them all the same and move them to the second week versus the second night of that. But yeah, so I mean, as a city manager, I mean, that's 5 months where we only have a single meeting. That gets a
Right.
little tricky.
Yes. Do you have sufficient direction to?
I think so. I think we just want to put it all on
Yep.
paper and make
Yep.
sure it reads
No,
right.
I like that. I like that. Thank you.
So that'll be on December 2nd.
Yes.
Now, any direction on your rules and procedures?
Okay. Councilmember Hennon.
Yeah, so I had a number that were, most of them were just nitpicky, cleanup,
No, they're good, good. Yeah.
kind of clean up things, which it sounds like we can probably pass those as recommendations to come back unless, figured we wanted to discuss the putting things on the agenda, but beyond those, was there any discussion on the things that I had proposed and circulated around?
No, I just had one add or question about reading all the items on the consent agenda. Is that have to other communities? Or
No, and we could do abbreviated. We could have the
I mean,
account
we could
numbers
have
on the
them on
motion sheet.
packet still, and then just you wouldn't have to read them all off, or that?
We do need to read them all off according to your rules and procedures, so if
Right,
you
right.
wanted to
But if we
change that.
Updated them. It's not a requirement. Like it's not a.
It's the discretion of council.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have this for a discussion topic tonight, but even made a note, reading those account numbers, that's not,
Right.
that's useful written down, that's not useful being read out loud to me. Naming the account would be more
Sure.
useful.
Well, and the only thing I would add to that too is, I mean, it's, again, council prerogative, but we don't adopt the budget by account. We adopt it by department.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what value is there? I mean, again, it's helpful probably to know kind of where it's coming from, but those are things we could just address in a report too. Again, totally your call.
No, I like that idea.
I just hear you reading them every meeting, and I don't know how you do it.
No.
If we can help with that.
Right. Streamline
I wouldn't mind
that.
having them on the paper to see them, but as
Right.
far as requiring you by our rules to read them,
Yeah, I think just including those in the cover
Yeah.
memo.
Yeah, in the cover memo, not on the, yeah.
Yeah, and then the one larger request was that I have seen in other councils, not this one, not Mayor Dean, where a mayor is in charge of the agenda but won't put things on the agenda. And just to put some guardrails on that and safety for in the future, that any two council members, if they submit in writing to the clerk, can have an item put on the agenda with 10 days notice, because that's currently what the deadline is. So staff has time to prepare. It isn't a big surprise, and it would, hopefully we never get that mayor, but prevent some mayor from doing starving critical things from being on the agenda.
Thank you. Is there precedence for this in other communities to put such guardrails in place, or are we going to be carving new ground if we were to put something like that in writing?
A couple of years, I'd have to look. A couple of years ago, I looked at a whole lot of other cities' minutes or procedures and how they did things to get some ideas. I was more looking for how to do boards and commissions at the time. And I think there is some precedence for this, but I don't have those notes readily handy. But actually, I'm very confident there was precedence for it.
So thank you. And then the question of two, as we have conducted business over the last, at least the while that I've been here, when we put a subcommittee together, we have like 3 members of council. Would you be opposed to having it be a requirement of 3 as opposed to 2? Because, again, we have that precedence of 3. It's just because you have an odd number to kind of break a tie. If it's just 2, then you kind of, you get stuck or whatever. I don't know. Is that something that you'd be open to?
I don't have strong feelings. 2, the thinking behind 2 is it takes 2 to
takes 2 to tango.
Takes 2 to start a motion and to
second it.
Yeah. And so that was the thinking behind 2. But if others wanted 3,
you wouldn't be opposed, at least, to consider it. Okay, thank you.
I would also like to offer just, Mayor Pro Tem Gavin and I have just been thinking about different ways to include more of council in other processes, and perhaps agenda meetings we open up to cycle council members through. If you want to come to an agenda meeting, obviously it would be still, we're looking at a sub-quorum of council, but almost peeling back the curtain, it's really no big mystery. Most of what comes before us there's a timestamp on it, and quite frankly, the agenda is pretty much set by the city manager in collaboration with the clerk, and then the city attorney and I and Mayor Pro Tem Gavin come in, and we might what about this, or just kind of like then we're all discussing what's in front of us. So I would welcome if council members wanted to cycle through whenever it will work in their schedule to open that up as well. So,
if I may, the one community where I worked, how they did that is for the 3rd, it was random draw. They literally would pull names from a hat. So that's one way you could handle that. And I have found in a few places I've worked, the agenda process sometimes some council members see it as kind of a mystery. Like, is this the Wizard of Oz type stuff? Basically, I don't know if everybody knows how it works, but the agendas are largely driven by staff. Like this is what we need council to act on in order for us to do our business, in order for us to have the resources to complete tasks and things like that. And what we do at these agenda review meetings is essentially just that, just review what's on there. 9 times out of 10, what we're talking about is the placement. Is this worthy of consent, or does it need to be in the other section? Is there some questions that we know are going to be raised? Hey, Nate, make sure Sean addresses these questions in his report. Things of that sort. Or we get a lot of proclamation requests. A lot of folks want us to have a proclamation for this or for that. And really that's more about politics versus business. And that's where we'll vet, like, hey, we got these 6 proclamation requests. Where are you guys at with that? So that's kind of how, just like in 30 seconds, that's how the process works.
and if I may add, we'll also try and group items together, like, Director Young, he's got 3, let's put
Oh,
those
right.
together
Yep.
just for flow and consideration of time. So, thank you for all that, because it really is how it is, so.
I don't, maybe I'm misunderstanding it. I don't think it's the current council, but I think this is just in case, right, a guardrail, and
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not
Yes.
saying anything I wouldn't, but if I had something, I could come to you and talk to you, and it's not I think it's just a guardrail
Yeah,
for
thank you.
everyone at council,
Yeah.
and I think this how council is congealed, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's for here, it's just to have in our rules.
Sure, thank
And
you.
it's true, any future council could change their rules, but
Right.
once it's in there, it becomes harder to, there's just an impetus, that it keeps it in there, so.
Well, and we just want to make sure we're bringing the best all the time, and so, I think we are, and thank you all for the comments and suggestions. So, Councilmember Baker?
So I think it feels like we kind of talked about two things,
We
right? There's
did.
sort of the subset of council requesting something on the agenda. I don't know where we're at with that. And then the notion of having an additional council person in on the agenda sessions, right? And I felt a little more clear on that. You mentioned that either I just draw it out of a hat or we just do round robin, and whoever's next, if they can make it, great.
Yeah.
If not, then you try the next person. If they can't make it, great. Some kind of process along those lines would be fine. So so those are the two that I'm trying to keep track of in my head. Have we landed on both of those? And then are there any others?
And that's exactly where I was going. Thank you.
All
So,
right.
So where are we on the number of council members it would take to not put in a light bulb, but to get something on
If
the
we even
agenda?
wanna entertain
If we
that.
want to.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, 2, 3, 2 was suggested, I'm good with that.
2.
I think 3 would be good, yeah.
I like 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just working through this process. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Clarence.
I like 3.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I mean, in my head, it was just like, okay, certainly not to compare this
Oh, boy.
nice body with the United States Supreme Court, but I was trying to do the numbers in my head. It requires 4 out of 9 justices, so like 40-ish% to get something on the docket. 3 of 7-ish or 40-ish%. Maybe we just use that as an example. I don't know, for lack of a better way to decide on a number.
It looks like we have clear consensus on 3, so
Okay.
I'm comfortable with that.
So, Mr. Geinzer,
If I may.
you may.
And again, this is your process. And I think, as I've been in here for a few months and watching how you all operate, I mean, this has been a great council to work with. And ultimately, as the comments that came up earlier, we're trying to think about the future as well. Especially these next couple years, there's going to be a lot of demand for your time, especially as we're trying to figure out long-term priorities, long-term strategy, long-term financial, all of that. And that's what we're all going to be trying to work with you on at December, is to have this strategic alignment. I'm not going to call it a strategic plan, because a strategic plan means something different to me, but a set of strategic priorities that we're going to stick to. I think that's really going to help you all manage your agendas moving forward. One thing I use the word caution because I can't come up with another word in my mind. So it's potential that you could have issues where we're trying to pull away from the focus that council has set.
Sure.
So one suggestion I would have to consider is when it's in alignment with the strategic plan. Now, that's very subjective. Different folks might have a different opinion of what aligns with the strategic plan. The point being, if there is something that's off over here that a group of council wants to talk about, then we need to have a larger conversation about the strategic priorities. Because ultimately what this potentially means is we need to make room to fit that in here, because we're not only talking about our strategic priorities, we're talking about all of the other things that we still have to do besides focus on the strategic priorities. So this is a little bit about time management and resource management.
And focus.
And focus.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you can start having a tyranny of the minority, bringing bringing things in that just aren't appropriate. But and I hadn't considered that. The motivation was more where I had seen mayors acting, just not allowing things that business that needed to be conducted, not allowing it to be conducted, and to provide a path to get around that.
No, and I think I have not seen that here. I would let you guys know if I did. But I find it hard to believe that your new city manager is going to let something like that go, because there are things that we need to get done as business. And if it's the council's prerogative that this is something we need to work on and it's a result of our work, whether one or two people agree, whether it's the mayor or not, with all due respect, it's going to be on that agenda.
Councilmember Baker.
Thank you. You said the word work a couple times. Maybe another avenue to explore would be to tap into that work session time that we have to explore a potential agenda item to make it more visible in public, rather than just like it popping up on the agenda because 3 people requested it be so. We'd get a chance to exercise it a little bit, kind of get a feel for what the community thinks about it, and then have a higher alignment about whether or not it's something that we want to take action on based on its alignment with the strategic plan. So perhaps we already have the answer in front of us with the work session trigger in there that any one member could bring up as part of a work session, and then we talk about it and then say, yep, this makes sense, let's make it real, pop it on a subsequent agenda.
Councilmember Hennon.
Yeah. So 2 parts. I like the idea of us putting in our rules that before each, there will be scheduled but not necessarily held a work session before each meeting. And then the second part, that this isn't to get things on the regular agenda, but could be an avenue to get things on a work session, which then could lead to it getting onto a regular agenda. But yeah,
Something
I like
like
that.
that, yeah.
I like that.
I like that.
That makes sense.
That provides a really good safety net for your new city manager,
Yeah.
because at that point, through the work session, we know that there is a majority of council. It's like, yes, we need to discuss this, or, yep, we need to bring the strategic priorities back to the council, or excuse me, back to the dais here, and we may need to make an amendment and carve out some space because a new state law was passed, or we end up with a big infrastructure issue we weren't anticipating. A strategic set of priorities is going to be a living document, and that work session could be a great opportunity to introduce those ideas and shift as necessary.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah,
Good job.
that makes sense.
So what I'm hearing right now, I'm sorry, I didn't.
The second item.
I've heard 3 on the agenda review process,
Yeah, that was it.
and I've heard that, are we sticking with 2? Actually, I saw 3 go up. Is it 2 or is it 3 to bring an item on a work session to be vetted for further conversation?
What I think that it is not to bring things to a agenda.
Yeah.
But it's to bring things to a work session.
That's what I'm talking
The
about.
second part.
Yes.
But is there going to be a number of council members that are required to bring it to a work session? Is it the 2 or the 3?
I think
think
it's
it was-
3.
3? That's where I heard consensus. I just want to verify.
So 3 to a work session, and then also 3 on the agenda review with some kind of rotating seat.
Yeah.
In addition to the mayor and the pro tem.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
I like that.
The number shall
It's
be
not
3.
even my policy. I like
Shall not be 2.
That's setting up a good collaboration, I think.
I think so. And really fair and yeah, no, it just feels good. It sounds good. Like it's going to be good.
So we're going to put that into writing. We're going to take the other edits, the cleanup stuff that was provided to us. We're going to get that all in a document. Let's plan on doing a red line so they can see where the
Sure.
changes were made.
Thank you.
That and the calendar update will be on your December 2nd meeting.
Okay, so we've given you direction and we're just,
We're just taking no action, so just
Do I have
withdraw
to-
the motion.
Probably a motion to table.
Or
so the original was
table or
Patterson
suspend,
and
I don't
Haney.
never know what's the right one.
Table it
Table it.
table it
Table.
to the December
Yeah.
2nd meeting.
Okay,
Table to the December 2nd.
and you guys
And
are good?
support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, tabled to December 2nd. Okay, communications.
Councilmember Hennan.
All right. The Zoning Board of Appeals didn't have a meeting in November, and they have no cases for December. Maybe we'll see them in January. The Tree Board has put in an application with DTE for a grant, and we should hear the results in a couple of months. And there's some other grants that we're working on as well. 100 trees have been planted for the fall season, so anyone that was going to get a tree should have it by now, and care instructions and so forth. And it has been pretty dry, so please remember to water your tree and to help it get started. And some of our discussion at the tree board was that as we've been putting in new trees and maintaining them, we've been entering them into our GIS system. So we're pretty close to having, well, we have about 50% of the city completed so far. And so that will help us in future planning projects and also tree canopy studies and so forth. And the tree board's next meeting is on November 25th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Baker.
Hey, that's me. All right. Downtown Development Authority, DDA, met last week's Wednesday, the 13th. There were continued conversations around cool things like the DDA strategic plan, which hasn't been refreshed in a while, Coolidge streetscaping design elements, how and in what ways we can help influence the Berkley Theater marquee, continuing to be a landmark in our community, and incredible appreciation, gratitude, and celebration for the Berkley month that just passed. That's probably the last time I get to say that for a long
You'll
time.
work it
so
in somewhere.
I'll find a way. I will find a way. But again, congratulations and thank you to all the volunteers, to the businesses that participated, and to the organization that went into a fantastic month of delightfully scary, fun events. And the next set of events comes up here. The Merry Month begins here pretty soon, like November 25th is Small Business Saturday. So please remember to support your local businesses and help keep Berkley strong. I'll just highlight a few more and then give you the website where you can get more details. Saturday the 2nd, I'm sure it'll be mentioned, but the Holiday Lights Parade will be coming up. We'll continue with a Thursday night series of Merry and Bright Shopping Nights, which will be Thursdays the 7th, 14th, and 21st. On Saturday the 9th, the week after the parade, will be the Jolly Shopping Trolley, commuting its way up and down and across our downtown, which will be a lot of fun. And Sunday the 10th, Santa will be at the library. So, get in there, make your list, check it twice, make sure you're on the nice list, before you sit on his lap there. DowntownBerkley.com is the place to find out information on that and more. So it's a fantastic time. Historical Committee met the night prior on Tuesday the 12th. There is a new holiday mug available. Those of you that collect these things are certainly wanting to get one. And if you haven't started, this is a great piece to start with. This features a local artist named Stephen Patterson. He designed this. It shows Santa and our historic fire hall, nice Season's Greetings logo. This mug and several of the prior holiday mugs are available for only $10 each. At the museum, at the clerk's office, and at the library. So please enjoy your holiday cheers in some Berkley historical swag. That'd be fantastic. Just the other day on Sunday, Our Lady of La Salette celebrated their 100th year of serving our community. And there's an extra large display that's been placed in La Salette at the church, and it'll be coming to the museum in the middle of December. So if you don't get a chance to see it in the church, come please see it in the museum. That'd be great. And for more information on that, there's BerkleyHistory.com for more of that. And finally, it was Ann Hood who once said, "There is more power in a good, strong hug than 1,000 meaningful words." Now, of course, I'm probably going to try to beat 1,000 powerful words, but I think she's nailed it there. December 3rd is going to be Let's Hug Day, and when we want to, hugs are important, right? You guys have heard me talk about hug somebody, right? It's a powerful thing. It's like when we want to share our happiness with folks, when we see somebody's feeling low or down, when we want to make up after something, maybe we said something we probably shouldn't have and felt bad about. Hugs release good hormones in our bodies and help with blood pressure and things like that. So when I say please hug somebody you love, it's good for all sorts of reasons, and know that there's national days for it coming up. So please don't wait till then. Find a way to express your gratitude, appreciation, and sincerity with humans, right? I mean, that's what we are, and that's what makes this place great. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just very quickly, Parks and Rec Advisory Board will meet December 12th at 7 p.m. at the Community Center. The Library Board will meet 7 p.m. This Wednesday, the 20th. And just lastly, I know we read the resolution earlier, but just want to do one more quick thank you to the clerk's office and all election volunteers. You all are the front line of democracy, and you make it possible for every Berkley resident to share their voice and have a say in the political process. So, and then lastly, I know it was mentioned already once before, but thank you to Representatives Price and Weiss and Secretary of State Benson for an incredibly informative session about election integrity and processes. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Patterson?
Thank you. The Beautification Committee met on November 6th. There was a discussion on the Holiday Lights Parade. They're putting a float together in collaboration with the Tree Board, so it'll be very exciting. I can't tell you what it's about because I'm sworn to secrecy, but come to the parade and you'll see it. It'll be the one with lights on it. Planning Commission will meet next Tuesday at 7 p.m. here in the chambers. The Ad Hoc Committee did meet. Councilmember Baker, Pro Tem Gavin, and I met with Ms. Stevenson. She put a meeting together for us. We just started to discuss some opportunities for our boards and commission and how to make them more efficient and improvements there. And we have a meeting scheduled in December. I don't have my calendar pulled up, but there is one scheduled in December. And Thanksgiving will come by our next meeting next Thursday. So I just wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and I challenge us all to reflect on something that we are all thankful for. And that is all I have tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Black?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and esteemed council. The Committee for Engagement has a name change. We are now the Committee for Engagement and Transparency, and we are recruiting. Yes, that's right. We want you. All of you who we know through Facebook love to engage, and you preach about transparency. Well, this is an opportunity for you to step away from the keyboard and join us, because that's right, we're recruiting, and we want you. And if you're interested in being a part of our committee, all you need to do is send an email to communications@berkleymi.gov. Again, I know you're passionate on Facebook. We see it. We hear it. We want you to engage and come and show that transparency with us right here on the Committee for Engagement and Transparency. I want to thank Ms. Mitchell and everyone who made my attendance possible. It's not lost on me that it's inconvenient, but I appreciate you all making it available for me to be here virtually. I want to thank Karen Saltzman and all of the sixth graders at Anderson Middle School who hosted myself and my wife for Veterans Day. I was in uniform. My beautiful wife is 25 years in the Army, not married to me for 25 years, but in the Army 25 years. We had a phenomenal time talking to them about my service and her service. They were very attentive. We got a chance to show them what soldiers eat when they can't get a hold of a cafeteria. Luckily, they did not eat it because we didn't have it, and our insurance won't cover that liability. And then I had the opportunity to also be a guest MC at the Detroit VA Veterans Day presentation. Congresswoman Dingell was there, along with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, as well as Director of the MVAA, Brian Love. It was a phenomenal event, and I was very fortunate to get the opportunity to do that. So thank you also to the American Legion. I know, Madam Mayor, you and the Pro Tem were at that event. event that they put on and just did an outstanding job with the kids from Royal Oak Shrine. So just a huge thank you to everyone who honored our veterans this past Veterans Day. But again, I submit, I say it every year, Veterans Day should be every day. So continue to honor and support our veterans, not just on Veterans Day, but every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Geinzer.
I don't know if I can
Follow that.
So, thank you, Councilmember Patterson, reminding me about Thanksgiving and the upcoming holidays. Every year, as I understand it, the city staff do something for the holidays, something for the greater good. And Director Flora, our communications director, brought to our staff meeting the idea of doing a food and other needs drive for Berkley Cares Food Pantry. So that is open to anybody. The list of items that the Berkley Cares Pantry needs is on their website, but you're always pretty safe with boxed goods, canned goods. Each of our city facilities has a box inside. I believe it's the main door. I don't know if anybody knows off the top of their head, but inside the main door, we are collecting that. I wish I could tell you through which date.
November 12th through December 12th.
Thank you. November 12th through December 12th, we are collecting. Did I just steal your announcement?
No.
Okay. All right. That's all I have. I'll quit now. Thank you.
Mr. Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As Councilmember Black noted, his participation remotely tonight is expressly permitted under the Michigan Open Meetings Act, and it allows him to participate remotely when he is on his military service. I would just note for the clerk to note that it is supposed to be noted in the minutes of the meeting. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Well, you did take a little bit of my thunder. I just had it on my list in the event that, I just wanted to make sure it got mentioned because I really want to commend Director Flora for, reaching out to the food pantry and working with their leadership. So anyway, the Veterans Day ceremonies that we had here in Berkeley, there were two. The first one was at the gazebo here at City Hall, and Mayor Pro Tem Gavin was there, as well as my youngest brother, who is a Marine and Army veteran. He lives in Virginia and just happened to be here for the weekend. He did attend the ceremony in shorts and a hoodie, and I was like, I don't even know what you're doing. But anyway, it was nice to have him here. His wife, my sister-in-law, served in the Marine Corps. My niece, their daughter, is a graduate of West Point. My nephew, their son, served in the Coast Guard. My oldest brother served in the Army. My next oldest brother served in the Marines, and his son served in the Navy. I have an uncle who served in the Army and an aunt who was in the Navy. Our next ceremony was at the Berkley American Legion. I know Councilmember Black mentioned that. And Mayor Pro Tem Gavin and I had the opportunity to stand with Councilmember Black and his lovely wife, Lorena, for that ceremony at the Legion. The military gene skipped me, obviously, but I am abundantly proud of and I'm grateful to all of those, not just in my family who have served, but those who are actively serving and who have served our country. So thank you, Councilmember Black and Lorena and the entire family tree that I just mentioned, for your service. Much appreciated. On Thursday, November 7th, a sub-quorum of council met with a sub-quorum of the school district, school board, I should say, to exchange information and discuss collaborations moving forward. The biggest thing is COM 1. I'm very proud of that collaboration. I believe it's finished now. I happened to be by on Election Day and got a look at the field, and it just looks beautiful. And so thank you again to council, the district, and to Mr. Geinzer and the Dads Club and Mr. Young.
And Dan.
And Dan McMinn and Alex Brown.
All staff.
For everybody. No, it truly
And
was.
the finance department.
Yeah, yes. It was a group effort for sure, and it just makes me optimistic for further collaborations in the future. We also talked about the school board election results, so congratulations to Keith Logston on his reelection and to newly elected school board member John Hager. We look forward to working with you on, future projects. And really, at the end of the day, we're all just wanting to do the best for Berkeley, for the residents, the kids in the schools, the community at large, and then how that spills out into the surrounding communities. So our intent is to set a standing meeting on a quarterly basis, rotating council members in on that. So stay tuned for further details. And that's all I have, except I would like a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Councilmember Patterson.
Support.
With support from Councilmember Hennan. Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll?
Patterson,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black, Gavin,
Yes.
Hennan,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the Monday, November 18th, 2024 meeting of the Berkeley City Council is adjourned.